before I got married to Pratapana, Bhavananda said to me, I'm going to find you the best husband in the world. And I thought that was a little bit of a stretch.
It's like a Donald Trump.
Exactly.
And he made a mistake. He should have married you to Atmarama.
Well, that's another story.
That's the backstory. There's a lot of backstories tonight to tell. Most of the stories are backstories.
I'll tell you one thing, when the idea came up, it was Chitta who told me, he said, no, you can't marry her, we're saving her for someone important.
Do you remember that, Chitta?
Yeah, but you still talk to him. They're still friends.
No, he was lucky.
Right.
And there's a backstory to that.
And then they said, what we want you to do, we want you to marry a Chamudi.
Right.
Okay, so
I
in the
didn't
soul,
say
what
that.
can you do, you know?
I don't think I said that.
Yeah, that's a bit of
Was that me?
No, it was in Mayapur a couple of months later.
You're off the
And
hook.
you.
You're off the hook on that one.
Anyhow, 45 years, and we are still best friends. I love his company, and I see it as one of the major blessings in my life, actually, being married to Pratapana. So, I just, what I thought I'd do tonight, I'm just going to do a little bit of an introduction on Pratapana's earlier life before he came to Krishna consciousness. He was born in Hamilton, Victoria. He was born into a very good family. This is actually the shorter one is Pratapana with his older brother Jeff. That's outside their family home in country Victoria. He was a good-looking kid. That's him there with his brother again. He even won the most beautiful baby in the district competition, a very coveted title.
He's there with his trophies.
And here he is. And then he went on to become very popular with all the girls in the district as well.
Not all the girls, only the pretty ones.
He was very, very intelligent, gaining a degree in law at Melbourne University in 1970. This is him here at his graduation ceremony.
I heard his girlfriends did all these assignments for him.
Well, he didn't do much work at university, I can tell you that. He mainly watched movies.
And chase girls.
This is his mother Muriel and his father Kevin, and we're very grateful to them because they actually left us an inheritance which enabled us to buy this apartment. Pratapana was also... you know that shot?
I had a shot.
He was
He used
also...
that all over the place. Oh yeah, we'll get our lawyer to come and see you.
Good job, though. Good shot.
He was also athletic, and to top it all off, he was the ultimate party boy, schmoozing with Melbourne's young cool set.
Yeah, look at that.
You
Cool
could say
dude, man. Cool dude.
that's Pratapana in the middle there, hanging over the stair rail. You could say he was the pride and joy of his parents, but then in their eyes, it all started to go very wrong. This is his mother in the middle, Pratapana's first wife, Pratapana with the long hair behind, his younger brother to his right, his dad and his older brother over the far side with his wife Jan.
Looks a bit bloody.
And somehow due to some previous piety, along with the help of some LSD, he opened his consciousness to another dimension of a more spiritual nature. He had Srimad Bhagavatams sitting on the bookshelf of his marital home for a couple of years, and their influence was starting to take effect, but not on his beautiful, wealthy and brilliant wife, Annie, who had been the former girlfriend of Mick Jagger, but we won't tell that story now.
That's R-rated.
Her karma was even better than his, but she had absolutely no interest in spirituality.
Well, she did read the Bhagavad Gita, but she said it's just not for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she's, yeah.
So Pratapana moved on from his marriage and moved in with his friend Ben, who was also exploring the spiritual dimension. Pratapana, there was a poster plastered around town featuring Srila Prabhupada and advertising the upcoming Rath Yatra festival that Prabhupada was going to be at. And the caption on the poster read, "At whose feet all masters sit." And that really grabbed Pratapana's attention. So the day before the festival, Pratapana, who was called Peter Stapleton back in those days, went to Jimmy Watson's wine bar, which was like a local watering hole for Melbourne's in crowd.
And drunkards.
And he started talking, very enthusiastic about the festival coming up tomorrow that he was going to go to. And at the bar, a good friend of his, Jan, who was a journalist for the Melbourne Age, he started attacking Prabhupada. He said, "Oh, this was just another phony, bogus guru," he said in a loud voice. And Pratapana took great offence at that. And he stood up and loudly defended Prabhupada at the wine bar, even though he'd never met him. And he said, "How can you say that? What do you know? This person is a great spiritual teacher. How dare you criticize him?" And he stormed out of the bar. Everyone in the bar was shocked at his passionate defence.
I never returned to that bar again.
So that was kind of the lead up to his transition into Krishna consciousness, and I'll let Radhi Shyam is going to ask Pratapana some questions and take us on his journey as a devotee. So over to you, Radhi Shyam.
Thank you. So it's fascinating hearing about your early life. And it appears that you had everything materially that anyone could want. You had an amazing career, family, beautiful wife. What was it that inspired you to become interested in spiritual life?
I think it's twofold. I mean, I might have had lots of, materialistic assets, but I wasn't happy. Even though I had a very beautiful wife and I had, a very active social life and I had lots of friends, etc. But still, there was something missing that I was looking for, and and I wasn't getting that in my materialistic pursuits. And so, therefore, I began to look further afield towards spiritual ideas and philosophies.
Mm-hmm. So leading up to 1974 Rath Yatra, there was a lot of those sort of pious events that happened with the Bhagavatam and defending Srila Prabhupada. And we're now going to see a video of you actually at the Rath Yatra and hear your experience of that.
I had books which I had purchased a couple of years before when I was an attorney downtown. So I had those books on my bookcase, and occasionally I'd pick up a Bhagavatam and try and read it to see if I could understand it, because I never really understand. I couldn't make head or tail of it. But I knew, somehow or another, I knew that this was it. This was the truth. This was the real thing. And also, Prabhupada, I just had the conviction that this person, he was a person who had no ego, and that he stood for what was the truth. And then just prior to the Rath Yatra, on the Thursday, I was on my way to one of my favourite joints, a wine bar, and next to the wine bar there was a big poster which was promoting the Rath Yatra and Prabhupada. And on the poster was a beautiful picture of Prabhupada with the caption that said, "At whose feet all the masters sit." And it really impacted on me. And I looked at the poster and I thought, yes. So then the Saturday came around, so I went to the Rath Yatra. And then in the distance, I saw these amazing, huge chariots. There was 3 of them with amazing canopies and this amazing statue, which was maybe 30, 40 feet high, of this golden personality with his arms in the air. And there was literally hundreds of devotees, it appeared to me, were dancing ecstatically and blissfully, and there was just a swirl of colour and movement. There was a couple of marching bass drums, and it was just a wonderful sight. I was just struck with wonder. And then in the middle of the chanting party was this diminutive personality, Srila Prabhupada, who I had recognised from the books and from the poster. When I first saw him, he was actually dancing blissfully with his arms in the air. Like I said, all the devotees were completely caught up in rapture. So it appeared to me, in retrospect, Prabhupada was like the full moon surrounded by the stars in the sky on a cloudless night. It was just a wonderful sight to behold, and I was just completely overcome with joy myself at seeing it. At this stage, I was hooked. And so I followed the procession up the street and into the exhibition buildings, and there Prabhupada gave a lecture, but I really couldn't understand what he was saying. But it was something that was totally out of this world, and something that I just felt, this is it, I want to be a part of this, whatever it is. But I was caught up. I had Prabhupada fever very quickly. I mean, it was very contagious. It was spreading right throughout, and I caught Prabhupada fever that first time that I saw him, and I still have it today. Apparently it's incurable. Once you catch Prabhupada fever, you have it forever.
So we can see that this was a really important and transformative event for you to go to. You met someone there from your childhood, and then you had several really important days that happened. Can you tell us what happened at the Rath Yatra and over the days that followed?
After the Rath Yatra, they had this program in Ormond Hall, and we have basically a picture of it there with of course, the giant statue of Lord Chaitanya. And Prabhupada was there giving a lecture, and all the devotees were going around and around and around and chanting ecstatically and blissfully. And so then somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, Peter." And I looked around and I didn't recognize him. I said, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm Philip Scott." And I said, "Philip Scott?" Because he was a childhood friend from babyhood. He lived in Portland, like Admiral lives in Portland, at that time lived in Portland, and we were very close, our families. But of course he changed a bit since he was a little kid. And so then, we got into a rap, and then he said, "Hey, listen, why don't you come to the temple? Prabhupada's going to be giving lectures there." And so at 4:30 in the morning, I went through the whole thing, and so I signed up. And so that was a very fortunate meeting, actually, with, he became Sabhabati, well, he was Sabhabati at the time, but I knew him as Philip. And so then the next morning I went to the temple at 4:30 in the morning, and it was very, very ecstatic and blissful. Prabhupada gave the talk. Once again, I didn't understand what he was saying, but it was pretty blissful. And then the next day I went again, and I was getting really caught up. But then on the third morning, I thought, no, it's just, I can't, because I lived away. I had to get up at 3 in the morning, and I thought, I can't do this. And so I closed my eyes and went back to sleep. And then all of a sudden, someone picked me up out of the bed and threw me right across the room against the wall. And I thought, all right, I'm going. You win. I couldn't see anybody, but something threw me against the wall and get out of here and get to the temple. And so I went to the temple. I went for Mangalarti. And then the last morning, which is like 4 days after the Rath Yatra now, I was sleeping, and this time I didn't care if anybody threw me across the room or whatever. I ain't getting up. I'm staying in bed. Right? So I opened my eyes and just sat on the side of my bed, just talking to myself like, no, I'm just not doing it, right? And then all of a sudden, this personality arrived from the spiritual world. And he was one of the associates of Lord Chaitanya. He wasn't Lord Chaitanya himself, but he was in his spiritual body. And so he appeared before me and was dancing ecstatically and looking at me. He didn't say anything, but he was dancing ecstatically. He was in a spiritual form. So Krishna gave me this vision to be able to see spirit, because he knew the only way I was going to become a devotee if he sent somebody down to get me, because otherwise I wasn't going to become a devotee. And so that was it, game, set, match. And as soon as I saw him, it was like, right. I just went, packed my bags, and then went down to the temple, knocked on the door. I want to join. And so I joined on that actual day. I had no choice. But if he hadn't come, and Lord Chaitanya knew that, he said he knew the only way I was going to become a devotee if he sent someone to get me, a messenger. And so, hey, voila, I joined that day. Otherwise, I would never have become a devotee. I didn't know what the philosophy was, and if I knew what the philosophy was, I certainly wouldn't have become a devotee anyhow. So therefore, Krishna kind of covered me. He didn't kind of give me the insights to actually know what the philosophy was, because if I had known as a gross materialist, I certainly wouldn't have joined this movement.
So you'd never chanted?
No, I've never chanted before. No. I had chanted about 6 days before, no, about 3 days before the Rath Yatra. I went to this satsang with Muktananda's people, right? And they sat around in the circle and they were chanting, the prayers to the spiritual master. And then they gave me a gong or something to bang on. They're all just banging and making a noise and chanting. And so then they started chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, the Maha Mantra. And when I chanted that mantra, I just went to another dimension. It was like, wow, what is that? And it was just like, so once again, Krishna kind of revealed to me and really, I got a real blissful, ecstatic experience out of that. And I thought, wow, what is that? And then we went to have prasadam after the chant. I was in dream world. And then Upananda came. Remember Upananda? Upananda came in to invite us all to the Rath Yatra 3 days later. And he spoke really softly and gently, and he was really kind of beautiful. And I thought, hey, what a wonderful person. Upananda, he had such a, really such a gentle kind of demeanor, and he spoke very softly and lovingly and kindly, and I was so impressed with him. I said, I'm going to the Rath Yatra. So Upananda was the one that actually told me about it, and he was the one that really impressed me.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Huh?
Because he got me too.
He got you too?
He got, I went to something, and the temple rang me up and they said, can you take some devotees down to Sunbury? There's a festival and we want to,
Oh, Sunbury,
Sunbury
yeah.
festival. Right? So I said, yeah, and they said, yeah, we need someone to take all the girls down. I said, oh, I'm your man, right? So I took my car around and they filled it up with all these beautiful Hare Krishna girls, right? And they were telling Krishna stories all the way there. I was hearing all these stories of Krishna and Radharani and everything like this over the moon. And then when we got there to the festival, it was like unbelievably just drunks everywhere, the horrible people everywhere, and we were there to chant. And so Upananda, he went into this big tent, and then the whole of the cast from hair turned up. They all came, and they all sat around Upananda, and with that little quiet voice he told them all about Mahavishnu and how he lies down in the causal ocean and lies back there and all the universe and stuff coming out of him. And he's telling all this. And all these people, wow, they're all Americans, all those guys, because they were there for the cast, right, from here. And they'd seen us chanting outside the thing every day anyways. They were just over the moon. The talk he gave was unbelievable. And he goes off like, it's really quiet and he does all the movements and everything. Amazing guy. And I just wanted to tell that story. It was
Thank
too
you.
Yeah, so that's a good story. It's a good story. So he had like, really had the same impact.
But he
on
had
me.
the same impact on me. As soon as I
Yeah.
heard him, I thought, I'm joining up. There's no way I'm just going
Yeah,
to
he's
hang out
pretty
on the
special.
outside.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was why I went to the Rath Yatra, and then from Rath Yatra it went
Yeah.
on La La, then it became in the road.
So you joined in Melbourne. Tell us a little bit about your early years in Melbourne and what sort of service you did.
Well, the first day I went out to Spiritual Sky, and and I was doing the incense, and then Hari Sori came along and said,
Yeah, I was there.
"Have you heard about the Yamadutas?" And I said, "The Hammer who's?" And then he went on to tell us about the Yamadutas and how they come and they rip you out of your body and they're ferocious. And I was like, help, get me out of here. So at the end of the day, I survived it and I went to the temple president, it was Chiru. I said, Chiru, please don't send me to Spiritual Sky again. And so the second day, they put me out with Sababati, Philip Scott, out on the Capitol Arcade with some books and incense. And so that's when I started, the book distribution started from there. So then they formed the BBT party and I joined that and was travelling. And then, but I was in Melbourne with Chiru, and Chiru was the temple president, and he rang up Madhavisa, who was the GBC, who was in Adelaide at the time. And he said, look, the lawyer, he said, Madhavisa, we've got this lawyer's joined. He's got a suit and they come out, right? And so he said, really? He said, how old is he? He said, I think he's 27. And Madhavisa said, get rid of him. Get him out. He's not going to last. He's too old. He's 27 years old. He's too old. Get him out. And so Chiru didn't get me out. And so thank you, Chiru. He let me stay. And then after a couple of months, he had issues with Madhavisa. I never got into what they were.
They always had fights, those two.
Huh?
They always had fights.
Yeah, so then he one day said, listen, why don't we just grab a van, fill her up with books, and let's just travel. And so we did that. We got one of the combi vans we had, filled her up with books, and then we went from Cairns down to Perth and just did book distribution every town and village for about a year. And then we went through to Adelaide, and at Adelaide, was in From Street, Adelaide, I was leading the Guru Puj in Adelaide, and then this Pujari poked his head around the corner. Chidahari! He was the temple president, and and also he was doing the Pujari. And he said after, he said, I thought it was, was it Frank Sinatra was singing or Dean Martin? Dean Martin. He said, I thought Dean Martin was singing.
He used to do this Dean Martin voice when he did the Guru Puj, and it sounded just
Still
like
doing. And so that's where I met Chidahari for the first time.
One very quick thing, when Pratapana joined in Burnett Street, Chidahari and myself, a few others, we've been devotees for several years by that stage. And I thought you were 26, but we were all talking, because we're about 20, I think I was 19, 20, and we all were saying, he's so old, he's really, really old. And we really did think he was so old, because
I was 27.
27.
Ancient.
And that's how we saw him as the older man, the older
They
guy.
were so ageist back in those days.
Oh yeah, so ageist.
I had the same problem with Bhutanath. Bhutanath came and Madhavisa rang me. He said, who's these new guys you got? You got 2 new devotees, I heard. He said, how old are they? I said, one's 29 and one's 31. He said, get rid of them both. But anyway, we kept Bhutanath finally, because he was only 29, he was the younger one. And he became a real full-on devotee, right? Really quickly, he just totally. He said, I got this book. I read this book, Lord Chaitanya's Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. It just drove me wild. I was just reading it. I couldn't put it down. He became a devotee like that.
them were the days, Trevor. Them were the days.
You got some real funny people joined, didn't
Oh yeah, characters. And so then I just continued and I just did book distribution for the 3 years up until March in '66, and Prabhupada had come, and at that time, and also Guru Kripa had come, because Madhavisa had blooped, and Guru Kripa took over as the GBC, and he was running the Japan party, the Namhata. But they were all American devotees, and they were having issues in Japan, and so they basically disbanded the party. But when he came to Australia, he got the idea, why don't I just steal all these guys from the BBT and take them to Japan with me on the GBC? So he stole all the best book distributors in Australia and then resigned at GBC. And then we all flew over to Japan, and so that's when I left Australia and went to Japan as a part of the BBT, part of the Namhata program. And that program was to raise funds for Prabhupada's all the temples and projects that he had in India. The temples in America weren't giving much. The Indians weren't around at that time. And so they, well, that's the Namhata there, a bunch of wild guys.
So Japan was the start of a lot of international travel and service for you. What were some of the challenges that you had in Japan?
Challenges in Japan?
Police.
That's an encyclopedia. So after World War II, the Americans basically outlawed the Japanese army and basically limited their army to 100 personnel in their army. And so they had all these army personnel with nothing to do. So then what they did is they put them into a police force. And on each corner they would have a police box with 2 policemen in it. And so my days in Japan were really centered on kind of fighting with the police. 2 or 3, 4 days a week we just have to, have battles on our hands. And I got deported 3 times in Japan, and I had to change my name each time. My current name, Tony K, is my last name from Japan, but before then I was Michael Marici, I was Percival Pondraka, and so I had all these other aliases. And so Japan was a real adventure, and we worked our butts off. We worked 7 days a week, 10 hours every day. We had quotas. And if you didn't get your quota, you had to stay up till 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever, you had to get your quota. And so that was a real workout, Japan. And so the advantage of Japan was that apart from fighting the cops, we also got to travel with Prabhupada like 6 weeks of the year. So we just take 6 weeks off and travel with Prabhupada. So we had a lot of personal association with Prabhupada until he left the planet in the late 70s. 1977, so we got to get a lot of personal association with him, and that's us, the Namhata. It's Guru Kripa in the middle, that's me on the right, and that's Rasanya on the left. And Rasanya was a really pure devotee, a lovely devotee. He was only 18, and we lost him in the Ganges, and he drowned in the Ganges. And so, that was a very sad time for us. But anyhow, Japan's a whole another ball game.
So when the Namhata program came to an end, where did you go next?
Well, Namhata kind of refolded in Japan, and for the last 6 months I went to Europe, to Scandinavia. And in Scandinavia, we were just doing book distribution. Once again, we're still collecting for the temples in India. And so with the Namhata it was good because we considered that Prabhupada was our Sankirtan leader, so to speak. So it gave us a degree of intimacy beyond officialdom, that he was our boss and he was our Sankirtan leader. So we got really inspired by that. So in Europe we did the same thing, and we like that. And so then after that, I went to Vrindavan. After the Nam Hut had disbanded, I went to Vrindavan. And there I was like, because on the Nam Hut we were super surcharged, we were just like really intense. So my mindset was to go to the place on the planet which is kind of the most fired up place, where the kind of, where the adrenaline rush was there and where you get a lot of action. So I was looking for action. What's the most action-packed place on the planet? And at that time, Tripurari came and saw me, and he was like the world's #1 book distributor, and he was working out of Chicago. And so he said, why don't you come to Chicago? And so I agreed, went to Chicago, and I was working O'Hare Airport at Chicago, doing book distribution. And so that was very blissful, very difficult, actually, initially, until you get the technique down and get the mercy. But in the beginning, it's a lot of surrender. But anyhow, I was able to get up there, and actually, one day, I was just like, after about 2 months, I couldn't crack it. I couldn't crack it at the Chicago airport and the book distribution. So I actually just went down on the stairs and started to cry. And then Pragosh, there's a picture of Pragosh there. He came down the stairs and he preached to me, and I just got up, and from that moment I became on the same level as Tripurari and Pragosh and the other book distributors. It was like a surrender moment. And so there was a lot of excitement in the Chicago, and that's yeah. There was a guy when we were at Chicago, we used to get a lot of people trying to run us through, especially American Airlines staff and crews were trying to get us through their briefcase. So we were pretty good at dodging. But one day we got this really aggro Afro-American guy. He came in with and stood on a soapbox and started going off about us and and telling and pointing us at and yelling at his voice, and had a whole crowd around him that he's going to stay here in this airport and stop this distribution of these Hare Krishnas until my plane for LA leaves, right? And so he was making such a racket. The whole airport was like the American Airlines wing of the airport was like, well, this is, because there's about 12 of us working that little space. And so we said, let's go and have lunch and wait for the 2:00 flight to come up. We'll come up at 2:00, right? And so we went down the stairs and we're having our lunch and Tripurari, so it's 2:00. So we walked up the stairs, and as we walked up the stairs into the terminal, this aircraft exploded on the runway in front of us. And that's a picture of the plane as it came down. It's 350 people were killed. It's the biggest aircraft disaster in American history. And guess who was on it?
Oh my gosh, Mr. Nasty.
That's right. He got his immediate reaction. Also, the whole board of Playboy magazine was on that flight. Because one of the devotees, his father was the chairman of Playboy, and so he lost his father. But the whole board of Playboy were on that flight. Not Hugh Hefner, but the rest of them. And so that was pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
And so after a while, about 2 years of work in Chicago O'Hare Airport, Tamal Krishna, who was the GBC, and before we go to that though, that's where I first met Atmaram. Atmaram came to visit us at Chicago Airport. I hadn't met Atma before that, because I left Australia before you joined.
Well,
and
I was there when Prabhu was there in March, and you must have been there at the same time. But then you disappeared because I heard about you, but I never knew you until 2 or 3 years later when it was 79 when I went over to Chicago, and that's when I first saw you.
That's when we first met, and so there we go. That's history. Right? I met Chitta in Adelaide behind the curtains, and we met Atmaram in Chicago in 79. So anyhow, after
Of course, he completely ignored me.
Huh?
He completely ignored me, even though I
I
was a
didn't
fellow.
ignore you. I said hello.
Anyway, but he was one of the big men on the team, and I was like low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
More senior.
I'm sorry,
And then they
Anna,
made
if
you
I
the
offended you. No wonder you hate me.
Then they made you the town president, right?
Yeah, then after a while, well, Shiva Ram was the temple president, but Tamal said, I'd like to train you up in administration and accounts. And so he did that. Then after a few months of that, then he said, I'd like to make you the president of Chicago. And so I became the president then. Then he had the Subhavilas, was an Indian, because he had a big Indian congregation. So he said to Subhavilas, you take care of the Indians, and you take care of the Westerners. And so that was going on until the GBCs came through and threw Tamala Krishna out of the zone and sent him to India, sent him to China. And so at that time it was like, well, what to do now? So I went down to Dallas, and my friend Trishtajuna Maharaj, who was the Dallas president, so he hooked up with him, and we said, but at this time Bhagawan bought us tickets to come to France. And so we just sat, now this is like out of the firing pan and into the fire. It's like, do we really want to go to Buck? Because he was a heavy hitter. And we thought, no, we need a break from heavy administration. So we said, let's go to the place where nobody knows where we are. That's the most remote place on the planet. And so we decided to go to Badrinath. And so we came into Delhi and went up to Badrinath, and we stayed there for about 3-4 months until it got too cold and everybody had to leave. And then that's Badrinath there. That's not on a cold day, that's on the middle of summer or something. And so we left Badrinath, and then we came down to Vrindavan, and everybody thought we blew. And so anyhow, at that time, Bhavananda was the GBC. And Bhavananda said, why don't you come down and do a tour of Australia? Because Trishta Jumna was a really good kirtanier, and he also gave really wonderful talks. He was a pretty amazing person. And so that's him there on the left-hand side, Trishta Jumna, and that's Sababati, Philip Scott, my mate, from childhood, and that's me in the centre. And so anyhow, we came down to Australia. That's a picture of us at New Governor, actually. And we came into Brisbane, then we come down, then we came to Sydney, then we went down to Melbourne. And it was at Melbourne, I was down there, that Chittahari was the temple president in Sydney at this time in 1981. And so Chittahari invited me to come back to Sydney to become the temple president, and he was going to become the regional secretary. And so I thought it through, and then eventually I agreed, but then they said you have to get married because temple president is always dealing with women, so you can't do that as a celibate monk. And so then I agreed to get married, and then they said, before that, they said, well, choose, who do you want to marry? I mean, what do I know who I want to marry? I just arrived in the country and hardly spoken to a woman for 8 years. And so I said, you choose somebody. So Chittahari, and who else was involved in Bhavananda? Who was involved in the decision?
It was mainly just me and
Just you.
Josh.
And Chamari?
Probably.
Right?
Probably, yeah.
So I thank you very much, both of you, for basically making this arrangement and not marrying her at Rananda.
Trying to prevent.
And not only didn't they marry him at Narama, they kicked him out of town and sent him to Melbourne.
First of all, we got married at the same jugga, but they married Archamurti. He already had a daughter, Janavi.
Yeah.
So I got 2 for 1. And they said, well, we thought you're the only one who could possibly handle this woman. So then we got swapped over. Yeah, and then we got swapped over because they sent us to Melbourne, they sent you to Sydney, and we sort of swapped over.
Yeah, it was a deal. It was a deal.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we won't go into the inside about the deal. But anyhow, that happened, and so I married Jayashree.
Was it difficult transitioning to Grihastha life after being a travelling monk for 8 years?
Oh, you don't know Jayashree? No, it was really easy. She's like a brahmachari. At the time, of course. I've trained her well. And so actually we hadn't spoken until after the wedding. Yeah. Yeah, so it was after the wedding. They said, well, why don't you get to know her at least, so just in case we're making a mistake. And I said, no, I'll take you with you. I trusted her.
That's right. He hadn't even seen her.
No.
I told him, I said, she's beautiful. You're going to love her.
Yeah. Thanks, Cheddar. Give me your bank account details.
One point for you.
So thank you, Cheddar. And so then we got married, and I spoke to her after the marriage, and I went outside and introduced myself to her, and she introduced herself to me. That was out in the garden after we got married, and so it was a fully arranged marriage, you could say.
Fully arranged.
Yeah.
Most arranged I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Because they
But I trusted you,
they
Cheddar.
hadn't seen one another until she turned to look at him and, I don't know, put something on, a garland on.
Garland, put a garland
That's the
on.
first time she'd seen him.
Yeah.
Or he'd seen her.
I'd seen her. I think she'd seen me.
Jo,
So
she
she went
wasn't
to
slow on
Chummery.
these things. Jo, she was pretty cool.
No, she was.
I said to Chummery, who is that brahmachari on Harinam tonight, Chummery?
I wasn't going to say it, but she did.
And Chummery turned to me and she said, Jayashri, he is taking sannyas. I said, I was only asking.
That was enough.
And then we got married, and we had a wonderful life together and wonderful children. That's Sri Ram, our first child, and that's Sri Ram sleeping with me. And that's Sita, our second child, of course, who's now Raja Kumari, who's become a wonderful, wonderful person. And that's, once again, that's Raja Kumari.
So you were TP when you had very young children.
Yeah,
We all were.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's Sri Ram, and once again Raja Kumari. Yeah, so I was exhausted, you can see. And so anyhow, the first few years in Sydney as the temple president, Cheddar, Hari and I just were like zig and zag. We managed everything together as a team. It wasn't like he was a regional secretary doing something else and I was the temple president doing something else. We actually did everything together as a team up until 86. We were inseparable. In fact, I didn't have an office, I just sat in his office. And it was like, so we managed the whole
The purple
thing.
room.
What's that?
The purple room.
The purple room. And so we put everything that we put together during that period was like a combination between Cheddar and myself. And of course, Jayashri was also involved in the whole manager. So we managed as a team. And we never had any fights. We loved one another. We had lots of fun. And it was a really vibrant scene. We had 70 devotees in the temple, all brahmacharis,
More than that.
Remember we used to make 2 devotees every week at the Sunday feast, and they'd kind of be banging, get out and make devotees, and everybody would have to make a devotee every week.
Yeah, it was amazing actually how it just went through the roof. We were going to take over the world. And Bhavananda gave an interview which was on TV, and he was saying that within 20 years, the whole, the Prime Minister of Australia will be a devotee. It was just a question of time before we were going to take the country over. And then along came 1986. That's another story.
What were some of the big achievements during
What's
your
that?
time? What were some of the big achievements during your time?
Well, at that time,
TP?
when I came back to Australia, there was a shift away from book distribution because of the bad publicity we were getting. So we shifted into paraphernalia. And so therefore, when I came back, and Cheddar, Hari, myself, and Chamra and the rest of the management team, we really just went from book distribution into, initially into painting sales. And then we basically created this gallery warehouse called Art World Graphics. And our dear friend over here, Vayu, we put in charge of Art World Graphics, and it was hugely successful. We did all the framing was down there, and he made an amazing business out of it. And then sometime later, after we were very successful like that, we sold it to him. We sold it for $20,000, and he ended up making like $20 million. So he did an amazing job with them, and now he's an amazing artist. We've got lots of his paintings. See that painting of Prabhupada? That's one of his paintings there. The bedroom's one of his paintings. We've got paintings all over. He's a wonderful artist, and he's been really successful as an artist. And so it all started at World Graphics.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and so then there was one different kind of paraphernalia after another. You know, candles, all kinds of things. The craziest thing we did was we had key finders. The craziest thing we had was fire Mickeys. Remember fire Mickeys? But we didn't last long with them. But a fire Mickey was like a little porcelain panda bear. And inside the panda bear, there was some powder. And the powder was actually to put fires out. And so what you do if you
We
have
sell them with the candle.
because all our candles would kind of explode and burn people's houses down. So along with the candle, you have a fire Mickey. So when the candle explodes, then you grab your fire Mickey and you throw it at the candle. The fire Mickey explodes, and all the powder goes everywhere and puts the fire out. They were fantastic. No, that was after you kind of left the Sydney Centre. They were the kind of towards the end. That's when we decided maybe we should do something else.
We had perfume. We had perfumes. We had
perfumes.
flowers. We had records.
Oh, records were big. I bought that from Chicago.
The magic moose massage things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
The magic moose,
the story goes on and on and on and on. How many paraphernalias? And we were really financially successful. We were making lots of Lakshmi, and therefore we were able to do so much using the Lakshmi. And then we became the biggest, basically, we were book distributors in the world, actually. In the world, year after year after year, we were giving more to the BBT than any other temple in the world. And that was all fueled on our fire Mickeys, perfumes.
And that enabled us to hand out the books.
And then we'd hand the books out. Then we'd give the books out to
And then the people loved us because we were giving them free books.
Huh?
The people loved us because we were giving them free
we give them
books.
free books. Oh, that changed. And then our PR became really fantastic. We got so much media, apart from one particular guy in the TV called Michael Willisey. He hated us. And so Chudahari was deputed to go onto the TV and get interviewed by this character, Michael Willisey, and he would get on there, and he did a fantastic job, and he beat Mike Willisey. I mean, that was a real
People
achievement.
always used to say, how did you beat that guy? No one's ever beaten that guy before.
That's right.
So I'll tell you the thing that really he'd been going on and on about us for a long, long time, you know, about how you always say
ISKCON.
ISKCON, you know, and I've kept saying, look, we are ISKCON, that's our legal name. We know we're the Hare Krishnas, and everybody loves the Hare Krishnas, and they call us Hare Krishnas and everything like that. But we are not changing our name. That's what we are. And then Mike Willisey started going on again. I said, look, give us a break, Mike. I said, you've been going on about this for 5 years, harassing us, the same thing over and over again. We are the Hare Krishnas. We are distributing goods about Krishna, and we love Krishna. And right from then, he just changed his whole mood. He never got on our case again.
No, he actually became favourable.
Hare Krishna Man of the Year and put a garland.
I put a garland on him and everything, right?
Yeah, but you preached to him over 5 years and changed him from being a
I know,
complete
on TV I
demon
did it.
into a devotee.
He was actually quite a good Christian man, you know, in his way, you know. He believed in God.
You did a great job with him, Chido. Well, the Chido, I wasn't going to take this character on. No, he's too tough.
I really wanted to.
And so, so that went through, and then we basically, after doing that, which was based on Sankirtan devotees, in 91, I think it was, I left being the president of Sydney and went out on my own with Jayashree, and we established lots of different businesses.
So when you go out on your own though, and you leave the temple, some devotees find that really hard and can even drift off back into material life. What was it that kind of anchored you still to your service?
Jai Shri.
Josh, that's right.
No, it was actually Pratapana.
No, they were
Yeah,
addicted
because
by
what
it.
happened was,
You
at
become
that
addicted.
time, we gave over the temple plus Govindas, and Ramai Swami took the presidency. And then we closed the cinema down, and he ran the restaurant and the rest of it, and the thing went down the gurgler real quick. And then it was like, you know, went from like 15,000 a week in the restaurant down to like 3,000 within a month or 2 months. And then after like 2 or 3 months, he came back to me and said, Pratapana, can you open the cinema again? We're going down the gurgler, and can you take it over again? So then we took over the whole building again at that time. And so from the early 90s, we took it over. Then we established other businesses. We had Dodge City Jeans Warehouse. So that's where you get your second-hand Levi's, but you go to Dodge City Warehouse here, and you get your Levi's. And if you want a football, you just go to the Aussie Rules Rugby League Mega Store. And so we opened these businesses, and with the Rugby League Mega Store and the Aussie Rules Mega Store, we became over a very quick time actually, we became the biggest distributors of rugby league and Aussie Rules in Australia. We had shops all over the place. We had the leagues clubs, had shops in the leagues clubs. We were doing the grounds with the big league magazines, and we became, within 2 years, we just exploded on the sports scene, and we became the biggest distributors of team sports.
People thought Pratapana was the head of Football Australia.
I was the head of Football
They really
Australia.
did. They thought he was the main guy in the rugby league for the whole of Australia, and he was like killing it, right? And I was embarrassed, like.
Oh, it's embarrassing. How could you do that, Pratapana? I had the Cowboys from northern Queensland ringing us up. Come up here, we need you like this. We were doing the merchandising for a lot of the clubs at this stage as well. So that just exploded on the scene, and it was really, really quite within a fairly short time.
It was the only retail place with a marble floor.
Marble floor, that's right. But and the Kiwis loved us, especially the Maoris, you know. It's the temple of sports.
Football buyers are real losers.
But at the same time, we were running Govindas, running the restaurant and cinemas, and so it was all happening at the same time. And the restaurant was really successful. The cinema, that was the time when film was really big in cinema, so we were really going through the roof. So everything was just really, you know, really successful.
Was it difficult for you at that time to kind of change your focus and, you know, focus on businesses, and how was that for you? Was it difficult?
So it's quite seamless, you know, because things just happened. We didn't kind of go chasing anything. Things just happened. Somebody come in, hey, I got a license to do rugby league. Why don't you come along and help me sell those t-shirts? Oh, okay. And then, you know, from that, one guy coming in, a Jewish guy, just got a license to sell, you know, rugby league. Came in and he said, and I made a friend of him, and from that, just, you know, going out with a few t-shirts, with, you know, football t-shirts, with, you know, door to door, then it just, this whole empire kind of evolved. But then in the 70s, going into the new millennium, things were changing, you know, things were changing. There's one nail in the coffin after another. And so we switched direction and went into fashion, and that's where Jai Shri really took control, because she's the fashion queen. And so we basically went out of sports, and we went into fashion. And Jai Shri opened all these fashion stores, and they were hugely successful. In the inner city, she had 6-7 stores in the inner city. But at the same time, we were also running Govinda's restaurant and doing that whole thing at the same time. But they were a very lucrative time for us. And so at the same time, apart from running these shows, we were also giving a lot of Lakshmi to different projects around the world. Jai Shri was very generous in basically giving Lakshmi to, you know, numerous different initiatives around the world. And so she went to,
The movie, the Hare Krishna movie, documentary.
the Hare Krishna documentary.
Yeah. didn't you
Oh,
just-
that was one of them.
Yeah.
And so that was, she went to India. She left me at home because I can't go to India. That's another story. But she went to India and she came back and I picked her up at the airport. She said, I just met at Yadabar and just gave him $100,000. I said, really? That's okay. What for? And she told him about this film that Yadabar wanted to make, the Hare Krishna film. And so she offered him $100,000 to basically fund the project. And so, like that. But she did that all over the world. She's very generous. Yesterday, I got actually 2 requests yesterday. Yadabar, actually. He emailed me yesterday, right? Because, her reputation is worldwide. They all know she's a soft touch. And so they're all kind of sending. So he emailed me yesterday. And he said, listen, we've got this, what is it he got over there in New York City? There's
60th anniversary of the incorporation of ISKCON.
Yeah, like that. So we need some funding. And then that was in the morning. In the afternoon, I got an email from Lucky Luke from New Govardhan who wants to buy this van. And he's talking about the van. And he said, can you pitch in? And then what else was there? There's something happened today. Also, somebody came in. So it's like, she's got a kind of international reputation as being a soft touch. So she's been giving millions and millions of dollars out over the course of the last 2 decades. And so very, very generous.
Never got anything out of it.
Huh?
Never.
So Govinda's itself is an icon in Sydney.
What is?
Govinda's.
Yeah.
So, but it's also very unconventional in ISKCON. What do you think Srila Prabhupada would think of it?
I think Prabhupada he wasn't a straight bird. He wasn't conservative. Prabhupada was a radical, and Prabhupada did radical stuff. And so if it's successful, if it works, if the shoe fits, Prabhupada would wear it. So I'm 100% sure that Prabhupada would be very happy with what we're doing here. Just like in Chicago, when we're in Japan, we were getting attacked by all the rest of the sannyasis and things. Prabhupada, they're going to the geishas. Prabhupada, the Namhada doing this. Prabhupada, the Namhada doing that. Prabhupada said, look, if the cow kicks, it's giving milk. If the cow kicks, you tolerate. So Prabhupada was very generous. And Prabhupada saw the result. What is the result? The result would have been if we didn't open the cinema and didn't bring people through from films, there wouldn't be a Govinda's. It doesn't operate. And that's why we're struggling at the moment, because the cinema industry is struggling to survive with the onslaught of the providers, internet streaming services, etc. So it's really, really difficult at the moment. And so anyhow, that's another story. Yeah.
So what we're seeing now is a picture of you with Srila Prabhupada. So you were the one standing on the right. Could you tell us a little bit about your association with Srila Prabhupada and the times you had with him?
I think this is the day of my initiation, or the day before or after my initiation in Vrindavan, because I was initiated in 1975, and so that's where it is. And I don't know about 100%, but that big garland that Prabhupada is wearing, I think was probably from the initiation ceremony, but that's a little speculative. But when I was in Vrindavan, I got association in terms of like how everybody else got association, but it was only with the Namhada that I got more personal association with him. And was able to, that was one of the advantages of being on the Namhada. And so once we went swimming with Prabhupada at Jagannath Puri. This is not Jagannath Puri, but there's Prabhupada swimming there. And so we had a water fight. Prabhupada was in the middle, and about 8 of us were surrounding him, and we were splashing him, and he was splashing us. And so it was kind of a very intimate moment, just having a water fight with Prabhupada, that was kind of really special. And so we did some of those kind of personal things that I wouldn't have got if I had been in Australia, but because I was on the Namhada, I was able to get that type of association. I became one of Prabhupada's bodyguards. See how strong I am? I became one of Prabhupada's bodyguards because in '77, when Prabhupada was getting quite feeble, and he had health issues. Then he needed, and he was so popular, he needed a cordon around him to stop him from being crushed by all the enthusiastic devotees. So we became his bodyguard while he was in Mayapur there. And he chastised us once, and he said, "Stop being too rough with the Indians." We were just pushing them away, they're coming closer, get out of here, Prabhupada said, don't be so rough with the Indians. And then we would go up to his top floor at Mayapur, and so he couldn't walk up the stairs, and so he had a palanquin. And so I was one of the 4 palanquin bearers for Prabhupada taking him up the stairs. And so we did this while he was in the festival at Mayapur. And then once I got up the top of the stairs, and then the other palanquin bearers, they left, and it was just me and Prabhupada. And Prabhupada then started to walk towards his room, and I followed him to his room, and then he handed me his keys. Now the keys, Prabhupada, if you've ever seen his keys, he had one of those big rings with about 12, 14 keys on it, right? And he hands me the keys. And he said, could you open the door for me, please? Right? And I'm looking at the keys and saying, which one is it? There wasn't like 12 the same keys. They were all different keys, right? And I thought, oh, shit, Krishna, please help, please help. I did surrender at that point, Please help me, Which key is it? And so with a jittery hand, I put the key in the keyhole and then turned it pensively. The door opened. I was like, oh my God. Can you imagine going through 10 keys and they're all working, and your Prabhupada sitting there? And so then he went into his room, and I followed him into his room. And then we closed the door behind. And then when Prabhupada was walking between his rooms, he had two, 3 rooms, and he was walking, chanting as he was going. And so I was following him in and out of the rooms like that for about 2, 3, 4 minutes. And then then I thought, well, maybe I should, do the right thing here. And so then I said to him, Prabhupada, and he said, yes. I said, is there anything I can do for you? Prabhupada looked at me quite intensely, looked into my eyes, and said, no, thank you. Ooh, what a relief! Because I thought he was going to say, yes, I want you to go to Africa. You should go to China. Yeah. He said, no thanks. It was like, oh, thank God. Thank you, Prabhupada. And that was the first time I met Prabhupada, actually, 75, when the devotees went to Mayapur, to Vrindavan, Mayapur. We all went to Mayapur in 75, and Madhavisa was introduced all their book distributors to Prabhupada, who was in the room. Were you in the room at this one? Okay, so anyhow, Madhavisa, he said, Prabhupada, this is, I want to show you Peter, Bhakta Peter here, he's a lawyer, Prabhupada, right? And so Prabhupada looks at me, and then I'm like, geez, I hope he doesn't say, you should help us with our legal problems. That was the lawyer. So he looked at me and looked right through me, and he read my mind, and he saw me, and he just said, and looked away. Didn't say anything. I was off the hook twice. So I didn't want to meet him 3 times because I figured I was going to get stung the 3rd time around. So there's those kind of little things that we really like with Prabhupada, that we got that kind of more intimate kind of association because I was with the Nanhada, which I wouldn't have got otherwise. And so there was all those little kinds of things like that which were quite special.
Amazing. So 25 years ago, you opened the Lotus Room, and so that's a program with kirtan, yoga, new devotees. There were ashrams that started. What led to this program being started?
I know, it was just kind of a natural evolution because you're doing all these things and you just want to open up new programs. And we had this new house that we bought, and we thought, what are we going to do? We're going to have to use it. And so we opened up these programs in the different ashrams. And so that was just an extension of what we were doing at Govinda's, but we just moved it over to the ashrams. It was more intimate in a kind of a house setting. And whereas at Govinda's it's more kind of official, and you don't have the same intimacy. And they were very successful, those programs. We made a lot of devotees through it, and very, very good programs, those programs. So it was happy times. Divaka.
Pratapana and Jayashree have been married for 34 years. Leaders in the Hare Krishna community, they've been part of this Sydney ashram since the 1980s.
That was from For Better or Worse, that TV program they did.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. It was a good program, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good program. It's really
You guys did some good marriage
Yeah.
combination programs.
yeah.
Famous for it. So
But that one became really. It was a 5-part series which was screened over 3 consecutive years at Christmas time, so I got a huge exposure.
Right.
And so many people, they say, oh, I saw that program. And so it was quite effective, that program. And so
And the Lotus room itself has been hugely successful with many devotees that
What's
it's
that?
made. The Lotus room has been such a successful program, making many devotees.
yeah, but especially in the early days, it's kind of much more of a struggle these days to kind of, so it's fading a little bit, but especially when we first started in the turn of the century, for those first decade and everything, that was really successful, yeah. And so then, but trying, but it's getting more difficult.
Yeah. So 5 years ago, you were diagnosed with throat cancer.
Yeah.
What impact did that have on you and your spiritual life?
Well, when you're kind of faced with death, then you do go a little bit more deep into your Krishna consciousness. And so it's kind of a bit of a wake-up call and make you more serious about Krishna consciousness. So like that, but you deepen your surrender to Krishna when the chips are on the table, and it could end. So therefore, you become more kind of internal and less external in your conduct. So you go deeper.
So, as a grihasta, you've raised your 2 children, and also Sri Ram's raised your grandsons, Nimai, Nilamadava, and Adidev, as devotees.
Yeah.
You're still managing Govinda's and the Lotus Room, and you're giving Bhagavad Gita workshops and meditation workshops, and you're distributing your mantra meditation book. You're co-managing New Gokul, the farm, and the Newcastle Bhakti Tree restaurant. So 52 years on, you're still going out on Harinam as well every week.
Keeps me fit.
Yeah.
Keeps me fit. And I love Harinam. We've got a lot of our Harinam devotees with us here. And they're very special, all these devotees. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a Harinam program. So they kind of forced me to come out. And if I don't go out, they'll beat me up, right?
Other way around.
The other way around. Come on. And so we have all these wonderful devotees here that are coming out, and and basically keeping me honest. And but I do like going out Harinam. I do love Harinam. I love dancing. Even at 80, I still love to dance. But I do love Harinam, and it was kind of an important part of who I am, Harinam. And also book distribution is also a very essential kind of part of who I am. And so both those things I want to see, going on nicely. And so like that. What's that, Raja?
A video.
Yeah, we're going to see a video now.
Oh, me, on Harinam. There we go. A bit slower these days.
Still getting up there. Do you think at 80 you're close to retirement? Is retirement
Some days
kind of
I
picture?
just feel like lying down and on the couch and not doing anything. Do you have that experience too?
5 minutes or so is all it is.
Then you get bored. But when you're married to someone like Joe Shree, that is only 5 minutes. So let's see what happens. I don't know.
We'll be watching. So after 52 years of service to Srila Prabhupada, what do you think that Srila Prabhupada is pleased with you?
I hope so. And so he hasn't struck me down with anything, but I hope so. Because that's what motivates me, is trying to please Prabhupada and Krishna. That's what motivates us, all us devotees, and especially our senior devotees. Why are we doing what we do? We do it because we're trying to please Prabhupada, we're trying to please Krishna, and so that's why we do all what we do. And so we're all doing different projects, all very successful projects, and we've been doing it for decades. And like Atmaram has been doing his program now at Govinda Valley for 25 years?
I think we bought it 20 years ago.
20 years ago. And so, he's been dedicated to that. Chidahari's been doing programs all over the world. He's in Russia and financing programs. He's involved with Harinams downtown. He's, and then you've got Chamari, and Chamari is like, and what a wonderful person Chamari is, running the show up there in New Govardhan. And so then you've got, over here we've got Kalia Krishna, who's been at New Gokul for 30-something years, keeping the show on the road. If it wasn't for him, New Gokul wouldn't exist. So he's stuck at it, and he's stuck at it.
You didn't come.
What?
If you and Joyce didn't come, New Gokul and Kalia wouldn't exist.
But it's because you stuck there. We're only new kids on the block, coming to help out a bit. Then you got KK. KK's been cooking Govindas now for 30 years. I mean, he is a fantastic cook. I eat there 4 days a week because it's only open 4 days a week. But he's fantastic, isn't he? And we have all these wonderful devotees. And look, over here we have Dabaka. Dabaka was in Sydney Temple for how long? About 30 years. And he was our maintenance man, keeping the show on the road, and that place was falling apart, and it still is. I wish he'd come back. He's gone up to the Gurukul, the traitor, and then we've got these beautiful Kirtaniyas here, who I love very deeply, and they're wonderful. If it wasn't for those wonderful personalities, we wouldn't be going out on Harinam and doing all these things. And then I have my wife, Joshua. Okay. And Trevi. You know what happened with him? See up there on the board, the Carnival Spiritual. Okay? And so this is into June tomorrow, and she's running the Polish festival. And so we brought it out here, renamed it, remodeled it, reworked it, re-edited it, and put it together and called it the Carnival Spiritual, because I thought that's a pretty catchy name. And it's kind of as if it's French or whatever, but anyhow, the Carnival Spiritual. And so we came in, we brought them in 3 times, and we did a nationwide tour with that, and played about 50 or 60 venues on each of the tours, and they were packed out. Every venue was packed out. It was hugely successful, and of course Trevi was their #1 musician. So on the 3rd time, when they were leaving, I stole him. I locked him away, and into Germany I was looking for him. Where's Trevi? Oh, I don't know where Trevi is. Well, I don't know. He was living in a dungeon somewhere with a lock and key. So they flew off back to Poland and wherever they were going, but there was no Trevi on board. And after the plane took off, I let him out. And so he's been under lock and key for the last 14 years, but he's a fantastic kid to
He
have.
stuck up 1 year or 2, I remember.
You stole KK too.
Huh?
You stole KK too.
I didn't steal KK.
From Sydney Temple.
Oh,
I was
hardly.
going to Cessnock by that time.
Yeah, well,
was
no,
in
I
Newcastle.
wouldn't call that theft. Enticement, he was enticed.
Yeah.
But
You're always
it's-
good at enticing people.
Yeah, I
Is
was
that
there
it?
for 8 years
Well,
with you.
just one
That's
last
right.
thing.
There's one more question for the road.
Yeah,
What is
one
that?
last one. So you've been an inspiration to everyone in this community for so many years, because you are so creative, you're surrendered, you're so humorous, you're so supportive, you're kind, you're creative, and your surrender to Srila Prabhupada is just so inspiring. Is there any wisdom that you'd like to share with all of us from your journey?
You're on the spot now.
Ah,
Come on, Pratapana, wisdom.
Go to Samadhi.
surrender to Krishna. That's all. You just dedicate your life to Krishna, and everything wonderful will happen. Every one of us has a mission. Every one of us as devotees are on the planet with a particular purpose. We may not know what that purpose is, but it will become manifested. It will be revealed. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone is here with a mission. When you're a young devotee, it's hard to work out what your mission is. But as you basically mature in your Krishna consciousness, it becomes more obvious. And then it becomes like the sun shining. You know what your mission on the planet is. So we all have to search for that and pray Krishna to manifest. Why am I here? Why did you put me here? What am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? You have to get that answer. You have to ask that question. What do you want me to do? And so therefore, it will be revealed. As you surrender, Krishna reveals why you're on planet Earth, and rather than on, Gandharvaloka or some other higher planet, why are you on this crummy planet called Earth? What is my mission here? And so that mission is there. And so all of you have been wonderful. And we have here from New Zealand, she flew all the way from New Zealand, amazing. And you joined the temple here in Sydney about 18 years ago. Lakshmi Dari. You know Lakshmi Dari? Lakshmi Dari. So all the way, she flew all the way from New Zealand just to come over and say, happy birthday. Oh, that's pretty special. Thank you, Lakshmi Dari. And Lakshmi Dari is a wonderful devotee from New Zealand. And so, and we have, I don't want to forget anybody here.
Jessica.
We have Ian. Ian, he is the animator for Disney. So he's basically honing his skills before he becomes an animator for Govindas. Or Govinda Valley. Or Michael. Yeah, you can grab him. Here he is, all right? If you can match the package from Disney, he's yours. Take him. And then we have a girl that I really love. I love all girls. I love guys as well, but I'm not one of them. Right? Olivia, what a gem. And she's been our maitre d' at Govinda's for the last 7 years. And she's just a ray of sunshine. She's such a beautiful person. And so like that. And then we have to go around the room one more time. And we have to see, we know. Cakes. The best cake makers in the world are Russians and Ukrainians. Now that cake is coming from a Ukrainian. Ira. Now I don't think I've had your cake, Ira, but since you're from the Ukraine, I think it looks spectacular. Let's see how it tastes. And then we have, all the way from Switzerland, Rennie. Rennie, she's an amazing artist. She does these incredible light sculptures, and they're amazing. And she married Vayu, and what a partner, what a partnership. Thank you, Rennie. Thank you. And she's become a dear friend, and they invite us over for breakfast once a year. Because they're hard up, they're struggling artists. But he has this amazing jam that he has because he's got one of these trees in the front of his house. It's called a passion fruit tree. So if you're looking for passion fruits, he's the man.
No, Rennie makes it.
And so thank you all very much. And I got my wonderful daughter. I mean, they don't come better than Raja. She's the love of my life, actually, Raja. No, she's so wonderful. I love her so much. I have one prayer to Krishna. My prayer to Krishna is that Krishna, please take me before you take Raja Kumari, because I can't live without her.
Oh, beautiful.
And my wife. Really, if it wasn't for her, I'd be nothing. I'd be sitting, with the arse out of my pants, going around begging for can you give me a dime? She's the powerhouse, and she's the one behind me. I'm just a facade, I'm just a facade. But actually, the real dynamo behind my life is my beautiful wife, Jayashree. Jayashree.
Been chanting your name since I don't know when. So I've made up my mind, this must never end. Look at me now, I'm devoted now. I don't know how, my mind is suddenly in control. There's a fire within my soul. Hari-bol, let's all chant Krishna's names. Hari-bol, let's all chant Krishna's names. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Hare Hare. There's something so devoted. Ooh, since the day I chanted Krishna, I could never let you go, my dear Krishna. Now I really know, Krishna, I could never let you go. He came to Darlinghurst in 1981. A man whose name represents the burning rays of the sun. Look at him now, he's eating chocolate mousse. I don't know how he manages staying in control. One spoon at a time is the way to go. 52 years he's hearing Puja bells ring, inspiring all with his heart and his soul. Oh, oh, Pratapana, here he goes again. My, dancing through the city. Pratapana, he really loves to sing the names of Radha and Krishna, a friend of Prabhupada's. There's just one Pratapana. Happy birthday, Pratapana. Is he 80 or is he 18? Pratapana, we love you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Oh, oh.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Eins, zwei, eins, zwei, eins, zwei. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare,
Oh, oh, oh.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama,
Hare, everybody one more time. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare Rama,
Oh Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, one more time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Pratapana, Jaya Pratapana, Shri Pratapana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Pratapana. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Pratapana. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, Pratapana. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. One more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Pratapana. To you, to you, to you, Pratapana.
Thank you very much, thank you. And now it's time for the cakes. Whoa, all the way from the Ukraine.
You get to make 2 wishes.
And by Divya Kirtan Mataji. By Divya Kirtan Mataji.
And by Divya Kirtan Mataji, who donated this cake, which is pretty amazing. And so now it's time to partake.
No, you have to put a candle
Blow the
out.
candles out, Pratapana.
Make a wish. And make a wish.
Careful that table. Oh God. Don't knee on the table.
What?
Don't knee on the table. Arriba!
First cut.
Of each cake. Make a wish.
Make a wish for each cake, I make a wish for each cake.
So Ira, what is this cake made of?
It's kind of
Black Forest, so it's sour cherries inside, chocolate and cream.
Sounds fantastic. And this cake which Divya Kirtan Mataji made is made with pistachio and raspberries.
Whoa!
And KK made?
Yes, and behind us here is a very special dessert made by KK.
Mousses!
KK, what is this one made of?
Mousse and
It's more than
peanut
mousse.
butter and
Oreo crumb!
Oreo crumb, yes.
Oreos, peanut butter, chocolate
cream.
mousse, and peanut butter cream.
Peanut butter cream.
And nuts and
There goes
cream.
more than I do.
So, for all those who want to get intoxicated on sweet prashadam, please step forward.
I'm full.
I'll cut the big one. And then I'll cut this one.
When I'm all alone, I sit and dream. And when I dream, the words are missing. Yes, I know that in a room so full of light, that all the light is missing. But I don't see you with me, with me. Close up the windows, bring the sun to my room. Through the door you've opened, close inside of me. The light you see, that you met in the darkness. Time to say goodbye. Horizons are never far. Would I have to find them alone without true light of my own with you? I will go on ships overseas that I now know. No, they don't exist anymore. It's time to say goodbye.
Quando sei lontano, sogno l'orizzonte, mancano le parole. E io sì lo so che chi con me, tu mia luna, tu sei chi con me. Mio sole, tu sei chi con me, con me, con me, con me. Con te partirò, paesi che non ho mai veduto vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te, partirò. Sullavi per mari e io lo so, non esistono più. Con te io li vivrò, con te partirò. Paesi che non ho mai veduto, vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò
Suonavi per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. Con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò. Paesi che non ho mai veduto, vissuto con te, adesso si vivrò con te. Su navi per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. Con te io li vivrò, with you I will go.
With you I will go. With you I will go. With you I will go.